Take first question on the right side. John.
Joe, each game is a series of matchup hunting. You're trying to find an advantageous matchup to attack, but they're also trying to hide that matchup from you. Where's the line between going after it and kind of stagnating, trying to chase that? What's the balance there?
The balance is having proper spacing, making the right play. I thought we did a good job of fighting for our spacing, making the right 2-on-1 reads. That's more important than anything else. And so I think regardless of who we're trying to attack, making sure we're at the proper spacing and making sure we're making the right play based on where the 2-on-1 read is the most important thing.
Fifth row on your right.
Fernando Tirado from ESPN Deportes. Joe, how would you describe your relationship with Pep Guardiola, and did you receive any kind of advice before the finals from him?
Yeah, I mean, he's a great person. He's a great coach. Just humility, joy, work ethic, intensity that he brings. And, we've grown to have a great relationship, so I'm very grateful for him. And, I'd like to think that we make each other better. So it's great that he was here. It's great that he was able to share some of his wisdom, and got to spend time with him.
Standing in the back right.
Hey, Joe. Esteban Buciosa here on your right, GBH News. You were able to get some of the stay-ready guys in towards the end of Game 1. One guy in particular, Svi Mikhailuk. I'm wondering, what has he done just to help this team get to this point when we're not necessarily seeing him and some of those other guys a lot in the postseason?
Yeah, I mean, when I talked to Svi about, during the process of him deciding if he wanted to come here, I just said, listen, the thing about our team is we need everybody, and we're going to play guys. And you don't get to where we're at right now and win a lot of games unless you have great depth. And throughout the season, because it's such a long season, what those guys do and kind of gets lost in the shuffle. But there was moments where, Svi helped win his game. Second night of back-to-back, 4 and 5, set whatever it is, Nimi and those guys starting. So their ability to just stay locked in and stay professional and impact winning is very important. And so that was what I told him when he came before he came here. And him, the other guys, and the player development staff do a great job of just staying on top of that.
Gary in the middle.
Joe, Gary Washer, Boston Globe. Jason Kidd just called Jaylen you guys' best player. He said it twice. Now, that could be a slight at Jason, but how do you want your guys to read these quotes? I mean, they read everything. There's a lot said in between games. How do you want them to kind of digest when there might be gamesmanship here, there might be some type of, that was set for a purpose, obviously, but how do you want them to kind of take that in?
You just need to focus on the truth. I mean, at the end of the day, nobody knows because they're not in the locker room. And so I think as long as we focus on the truth, we focus on the things that we talk about every day, we focus on the relationships that we build with each other, we focus on just that stuff. So they can look at it however they want. At the end of the day, what goes on in our locker room, how we communicate with each other, how we build relationships with each other, how we treat each other on and off the floor, that's the most important thing.
Vince in the back left.
Hey, Joe. Vince Goodwill, Yahoo Sports. For the first time since 1975, this is the NBA Finals where you have two black head coaches. Given the plight sometimes of black head coaches in the NBA, do you think this is a significant moment? Do you take pride in this? How do you view this, or do you not see it at all?
I wonder how many of those are been Christian coaches.
David Aldridge on the right. The microphone's on your right.
Hey, Joe, you mentioned spacing a couple minutes ago, and I just wonder how that process over the last several years has kind of evolved to where you got your vets just, because they know the game, they feel the game, they just kind of know where to go on the floor and how to keep the floor properly spaced and how to always make themselves available in, for whatever purpose that they have when they get the ball.
Yeah. I mean, spacing is like age is old as time. Like, it's the most important thing. And I think you've seen different spacings based on how the game has changed, how the game has evolved, how your roster evolves, how I think the better offenses have gotten, the more creative defenses have gotten. And the ability to put guys in certain spots, protecting the rim, where are your best individual defenders. So being malleable in your spacing, I think, is the most important thing because you have an understanding of who's where. You have an understanding of where the advantages are. And so it's one of those things that you have to fight for. It's like a simple detail that if you don't talk about a lot, it can get overlooked. But your spacing can manipulate the type of shots that you get and the decisions that you make. And I think that's the fight. Like, Dallas's defense, they're one of the smartest, best defensive teams in the league. And they have the ability to manipulate your spacing with their rotations and with their personnel. And so we got to be just as creative and just as disciplined in our spacing to make sure that we can counteract that.
Same row on the left here.
That's kind of what Pep has helped me with, spacing. It's very important. Transitions, how you move those guys. Yeah.
On the left side here.
Joe Zach Cox, Boston Herald. Gerard Mayo said last week that you've been a great resource for him as he adjusts to becoming a head coach. Just curious how you describe your relationship with Gerard and with the other head coaches in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, I think as you get into this, you start to realize that once you're in the position, nobody can really relate to you except other people in that position. And so you grow a bond with other coaches because you know what they're going through and you know what the challenges, you know what the opportunities are, you know the situation that you're in. And so I think it's really important that we all stick together, me, him, Coach Montgomery, Alex, you just have to stick together and help each other through it because each of our 4 coaches have been through different experiences, whether it's inside Boston or outside Boston. So we kind of got, Gerard and I got close as assistants, just kind of how would you do things when it's your opportunity? What have you learned from the head coaches that you worked for? And now that we're in this position, it's just kind of like helping each other with the transition and then just the different experiences. So.
Last one, third row in the center.
Daniel Donabedian, Clutch Points. Joe, what can you say about Sam Hauser, only 7 points in the Eastern Conference Finals? Then last night, or game 1, he got 8 points, even had some stops on Luka. What can you say about just him keeping his confidence through those struggles?
Yeah, listen, the most important thing for guys like Sam and Peyton is having an understanding that we wouldn't be here without those guys. They've literally won games for us, and you're not defined by scoring. And I think that's one of the strengths of this team, top to bottom. Whether it's the starters, whether it's the role guys, not one guy strives to be defined by one thing. So getting 2 stops on defense, being in the right spot, getting 2 rebounds, getting to the free throw line, sprinting to manipulate the spacing to get an open shot, all those things count for the same, especially at this time of year. Sam's done a great job in his career of not being just defined as a shooter, of being able to do other things. And I think our entire team has taken that on, and we have to work to be that well-rounded on both ends of the floor.
Thank you, Coach.
Yep.
Jaylen Brown will be